My name is Cynthia Fried. I'm 32. And like so many stories that end in regret, this one starts at a dinner table where honesty wasn't invited. Christmas at my parents' house always looked flawless from the outside. The table gleamed like a magazine spread. Candles flickering, cranberry glaze pooling on plates, rosemary sprigs arranged just so. Mom Linda believed perfection could cover everything. She used it to hide the subjects we weren't allowed to speak of. Money, favoritism, resentment. Across from me sat Emily, my younger sister, the family's golden child. She was self-made, or at least that's how it looked, the type of person who could total a car and somehow earn praise for the poise she displayed afterward. I used to think it was luck that put her in the spotlight. Over time I realized it wasn't luck, it was strategy. Emily had mastered the art of crying, flattering, and manipulating our parents until their sense of logic dissolved. That night I could feel it coming. Dad's smug, too proud smirk gave him away, the one he always wore just before he delivered something everyone else would clap at. I sipped my wine, the bitterness coating my tongue. Stay quiet, Cynthia. Don't ruin Christmas, I reminded myself. But this year I was done swallowing things that burned. Halfway through dinner, Dad rose, fork in one hand, wine glass in the other. He cleared his throat like he was on stage. Let's toast Emily, he announced, eyes glinting. She's never taken a penny from anyone. Entirely self-made. Our pride, our joy. The table erupted in applause, laughter, clinking glasses. Even Aunt Denise, who once lent Emily $5,000 and never saw a dime back, beamed as if auditioning for a commercial. Mom's smile was brittle glass. Emily's cheeks flushed in the warm light, pretending to be modest. I stared at my wine, feeling the heat climb my neck, the heat born of years spent being the responsible one, paying bills, fixing crises, all while being told not to make drama. Finally, I spoke, quiet but deliberate, as if I'd rehearsed it for months. Great, I said, setting down my glass. Then she won't be missing the $2,500 I've been quietly paying toward her business loan. The silence was instantaneous. Forks froze midair. Emily's smile faltered. Color drained from Dad's face. No one spoke for 5 seconds that felt like eternity. Mom's whisper was sharp, almost a warning. Cynthia, what are you saying? I leaned back. 2 years ago, when your HVAC business was floundering, Dad came to me privately. Said it was too embarrassing to ask the family for help. So I helped $10,500 to restructure your business loan. I looked Emily in the eye. Since then, I've also covered your rent, car repairs, and your phone replacement after that summer you lost it. Each time I was told the family was struggling. I gestured at the framed Aruba photo on the wall. Seems like the struggle had a pretty nice view. Aunt Denise's smile wavered. My cousin Tyler tried to stifle a laugh. Mom's face crumpled as if the performance of tears was about to start. Dad glared, furious but silent. Emily blinked, then hissed, "Why would you say that here?" I shrugged. I thought we were celebrating honesty. The room went deathly quiet. Even the Christmas music felt loud now. For once I didn't feel guilty. I felt liberated. Every year I'd bought peace with silence. That night I decided I couldn't afford that anymore. I rose slowly, chair scraping the hardwood. "Thank you for dinner," I said. "But I'm done being the family ATM. No more secret payments. No more pretending everything's fine. I'm ending the year clean." Dad barked, voice cracking. "You're being dramatic." Mom snapped. "Ungrateful." Emily, voice trembling with rage. "You just want attention." I walked out before dessert. The cold air hit my face like a slap, but it felt good, like surfacing after being underwater too long. I lit a cigarette I hadn't touched in months and watched frost climb my windshield. The house behind me glowed warmly, but to me, it looked like a stage with the curtain finally fallen. For the first time in years, I didn't feel small. I didn't feel like the problem. I felt done. What I couldn't know then was that my family wasn't about to let me walk away easily. If guilt didn't control me anymore, they'd take something tangible instead. 3 weeks passed. 3 weeks of silence, a miracle in my family. No calls, no guilt-laden texts, no "we just want to talk" messages. Peace finally. I worked from home, blinds open to the morning sun. Coffee made strong and quiet mine. Maybe, just maybe, the storm had passed. Then it happened. One Saturday morning, knock knock. No warning. No text. I froze at the peephole. There they were, Mom, Dad, Emily, posing for some warped family portrait. Mom held a bag of store-bought chocolate chip cookies. Dad wore that tight, fake smile he used before a lecture. Emily hid behind oversized sunglasses, shielding herself from the consequences of her actions. I didn't want to open the door, but I did. Mom shoved the cookies toward me. "We brought treats," she said, saccharine over glass. Before I could speak, Dad stepped forward. "We need to talk." "I didn't invite you in," I said quietly. They walked past anyway, arranging themselves in my living room like it was still theirs. Dad on the couch, Emily in the big chair. Mom perched on the edge like a saint about to martyr herself. I crossed my arms. 5 minutes. Dad cleared his throat. "We think Christmas got blown out of proportion." Mom jumped in, nodding too eagerly. "Families fight. It's normal. Forgiveness matters." Emily leaned forward, sunglasses off. "You owe us a second chance, Cynthia, after everything we've done for you." I laughed. Really laughed. Even I was startled. "Everything you've done for me?" I said slowly. "You mean the years I paid your bills while you went on vacations? The times I co-signed your apartment after you tanked your credit?" Emily's face twisted. "You're twisting things. Those were your choices." "No," I said. "I was guilt-tripped." Mom cried. Dad said family helps family. "That's how I got here." Dad sighed, pinching the bridge of his nose. "We didn't come to fight. We just need a little help temporarily." There it was. Help. Always code for money or favors. He looked up. "Your car. We need to borrow it." I blinked. "You're joking." He wasn't. He explained it like it made sense. Their second car was in the shop. Emily's had been totaled. They couldn't afford a rental, and Mom needed rides to doctor's appointments. "You work from home," Dad said, patronizing. "It just sits in your driveway. Win-win." I froze. "You want to take my car paid for, insured, maintained because you mismanaged yours?" Mom frowned. "Cynthia, don't be selfish. We're family." Something inside me snapped. I pointed toward the door. "No. Conversation over. Leave." Dad's expression hardened. "You've changed. You used to care about us." "No," I said. "I used to let you take from me and call it love." I turned for my phone, ready to call Daniel for backup, and when I looked back, the living room was empty. No voices, no footsteps, gone. For a second I thought maybe they left peacefully. Then I saw my driveway. Empty. My car gone. I couldn't move at first. Just stared at the space where it had been. Then realization hit like a cold wave. They'd stolen it. My parents, my sister, literally taken my car. I called. Nothing. Mom didn't answer. Dad ignored me. Emily went straight to voicemail. I texted me. "Bring back my car now." Silence. 15 minutes later my phone buzzed. "Emily. You'll get it back when you stop acting like a stranger." I stared. Laughed, not the funny kind, the reality has broken kind. They hadn't just crossed a line, they'd erased it. That night I sat in the empty driveway, arms around my knees, phone in hand. Calling the police on your parents? A line most people never imagine crossing. But I wasn't most people anymore. Every time they took from me money, time, peace, they called it help. This time it was real. Mine. I took a deep breath, unlocked my phone, and called the police. The dispatcher didn't laugh. Not once. "License plate, model, names," she said briskly. "Family or not, if they refuse to return it, it's theft." Those words rang like a bell in an empty hall. Still theft. Blood shared or not. 2 hours later, I watched the street from my window, coffee gone cold, waiting for the inevitable. Apology, excuse, manipulation. None came. The next morning an officer knocked. Patiently I recounted everything. Car, silence, text. He asked gently, "You sure you want to press this? It'll be treated like any stolen vehicle case." I hesitated. "What happens if I do?" I asked. "Depends on how they react," he said. "Could mean fines. Maybe jail time." I thought about that, about Dad's proud speeches, Mom's fake tears, Emily's smug entitlement. Then I nodded. "Do it." He filed the report. For the first time in my life I stopped protecting them. 2 days later the call came. My car had been found, parked behind a strip mall near a hair salon, 20 minutes from my house. Not at my parents' place, not at Emily's apartment. When the officer told me who had been driving it, I nearly laughed. Emily. She'd been taking it to and from her part-time job, pretending it was hers. When I arrived at the impound lot, my Civic sat exactly as I had left it, except for a pile of fast food wrappers and an empty iced coffee in the passenger seat. The officer looked at me quietly. You can take it home or press charges. I stared at the car, at my reflection in the window, tired, small, angry. And if I do press charges? He explained again. Could be a misdemeanor. A few days in county jail. Your choice. I drew in a deep breath. Move forward. He nodded. Understood. The next day my father was arrested. They couldn't prove who actually drove it, but he'd signed the insurance papers last. He'd orchestrated it. When I got the call, my hands shook. Not with fear, but with a sense of release. Then came the fallout. Mom showed up at my door screaming before I could open it. You had your own father thrown in jail like a criminal. How could you do this to us, Cynthia? Tears streamed down her cheeks, the same ones she'd wielded when she needed me to cover Emily's tuition or fix Dad's business mistakes. I didn't answer. You humiliated him. Your sister is devastated. Is this how you repay your family? Then I saw Emily behind her, hoodie up, eyes red. She wasn't crying, she was furious. You think this changes anything? She spat. You think you're better than us now? I just stared. For the first time in years, she looked uncertain. No, I said softly. I just stopped pretending. She flinched, turned away, muttering something about regretting it when she needed family. When they finally left, the house felt heavy yet clean. I thought it was over. That maybe they had finally learned. Consequences existed, even for them. For a few days things were quiet. Uncle Paul called. You did the right thing, kiddo, he said, low and steady. Someone had to. My cousin Tyler sent a thumbs-up emoji. Not comfort exactly, but validation. For the first time in years, I slept through the night without checking my phone for urgent family crises. I woke early, made breakfast, watched sunlight spill through the blinds, and thought, maybe peace can actually last. But it didn't. 4 days later, at exactly 9 a.m., I heard tires crunch on my driveway. I looked out to see them. Mom and Dad. Dad, freshly out of jail, still pale, clutching a thick folder. Mom wore sunglasses like attending a funeral. I didn't open the door. Whatever peace I had earned was about to be tested. They hadn't come to apologize. They'd come to bargain. They didn't knock. My father gripped the folder like a weapon. My mother held her purse like a shield. I opened the door halfway. What do you want? I asked. His voice was eerily calm. We need to settle this, Cynthia. Enough damage has been done. He lifted the folder slightly, as if it contained the solution to all our problems. I don't have anything to settle, I said flatly. You stole my car. You got caught. That's on you. He exhaled sharply, as if I were unreasonable. You've made this so much worse than it needed to be. We're family. We could have handled this privately. Mom spoke at last, syrupy and controlled. Your father's right. We've all said things we regret. Let's move on. Her voice trembled. Not from remorse, but from slipping control. Dad opened the folder and pulled out a stack of unevenly stapled pages, fresh ink still dark. He handed me the top sheet. An agreement, a family restoration and non-defamation clause. I blinked. A contract. Typed in clumsy legal language. It demanded I drop all future complaints, stop speaking ill of the family, avoid sharing private matters with relatives, and best part, issue a public apology at the next family gathering. I stared at him. And what do I get in return? The car, he said simply, smiling faintly, thinking he'd made a brilliant deal. I tilted my head. Except you don't have it, do you? For a moment he froze. Then his jaw tightened. Mom stared at the floor. Where is it? I asked. He muttered, defensive, we sold it. Needed a bigger vehicle for your mother's niece, medical appointments. I cut him off. You sold my car for someone else. He straightened, rationalizing. We traded it for a down payment on a used SUV in Emily's name. It was just sitting there, Cynthia. You hardly drove it. My hand shook, but my voice didn't. Do you have any idea how insane that sounds? He reached back into the folder and pulled a check. We'll compensate you. I glanced at it. The amount was a mockery. So far below the car's value it was insulting. Take it, he said. Be smart for once. I handed it right back. You just added fraud to the list. That's when Mom snapped. Mask shattered. You're destroying this family. She shouted. You've turned on your own blood. Do you think Grandpa would be proud of you? I froze. Grandpa, she went on, venom in her voice. You know there's a clause in his will about family unity. If you keep this up, none of us will get a dime. There it was, the nuclear option, the guilt bomb. I just stood letting them vent. They didn't know what I knew. A few years before Grandpa passed, I'd helped him organize his computer files and online banking. I'd seen a scanned copy of his will. It didn't match the version my parents cited. I let them finish. Dad smirked. You're making a mistake, Cynthia. If you don't sign, you'll regret it when the estate is settled. I smiled, calm, controlled, the calm before the storm. Thanks for the warning, I said. But you might want to reread that will. He frowned. What are you implying? Grandpa wasn't stupid, I said, stepping forward. He saw who you were long before I did. Confusion, then unease, flashed across their faces. I closed the door without another word. Behind it, Mom hissed, what does she mean? And Dad muttered, she's bluffing. She always bluffs. I wasn't bluffing. Not this time. That night, I opened my laptop and started making calls, to Aunt Diane, who'd always been suspicious, to Uncle Paul, who'd seen an earlier version of the will, finally to my cousin Tyler, who worked at a law firm handling estates. I didn't know what I'd find yet, but I knew one thing. The truth had been buried long enough, and I was going to unearth it. Tyler called the next morning, voice low and cautious. Cynthia, I checked what I could. Grandpa's lawyer, Mr. Crenshaw, is still alive, still practicing. You might want to talk to him directly. You think he still has the final will? I don't think he said. I know. Grandpa kept the original in his office, not with your parents. I thanked him and hung up. For the first time in years, I felt clarity instead of exhaustion. One short conversation with Mr. Crenshaw confirmed my suspicions. The family unity clause my parents had weaponized wasn't meant to silence arguments. It was meant to punish exploitation. The exact wording. Any family member found guilty of financially exploiting another relative shall forfeit their share of the estate. 2 names were listed explicitly in an amendment 2 years before Grandpa passed. Gregory Brown and Emily Brown, my father and sister. I gripped my kitchen counter until my knuckles went white. All those years of guilt-tripping, manipulation, and being called ungrateful, Grandpa had seen through it long before I had the courage. I thanked Mr. Crenshaw and asked him to send a scanned copy. When it arrived, I printed it and highlighted the relevant section, feeling my heartbeat steady for the first time in weeks. They wanted a war of guilt. I would give them a war of truth. The following Sunday, I invited a few